Hello, everyone, and welcome to Purpose Driven Life Skills. My name is Tamar, and today we will be discussing avoiding pitfalls, biblical warnings about money. Money is a tool, not a master. Money is not evil, but it becomes dangerous when it takes a place in our hearts. The Bible contains many clear warnings about how money can lead us away from God if we're not careful. God doesn't want us to fear money, but to handle it wisely, humbly, and righteously. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, 1 Timothy 6 and 10. So let's discuss the warnings about money. Number one, the danger of loving money. The Bible says that the love of money, not money itself, is a trap. When our hearts are attached to wealth more than God, we risk adultery. 1 Timothy 6, 9 through 10 says, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and pierce themselves, with many griefs. So I would encourage you to do a heart check. Are you more focused on chasing money than pursuing God? Do you believe that money can solve problems that only God can fix? Number two, greed leads to destruction. The Bible says that greed blinds us and leads us to ruin. It opens the doors to deception, dishonesty, and division. Luke 12 and 15 says, watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. So the key principle here is true wealth is found in contentment, not in accumulation. So just because you have a lot of possessions doesn't mean that it's going to make you happy. Number three, debt can form a bondage, or it can be a form of bondage. The Bible says that while borrowing is not a sin, it can enslave us if not handled wisely. Unwise debt creates stress, it limits our ability to be generous, and it distracts us from our kingdom purposes. Proverbs 22 and 7 says, the borrower is a slave to the lender. So here's a practical tip. Avoid unnecessary debt. Live within your means and seek God's guidance before making big financial decisions. Number four, dishonest gain leads to judgment. The Bible says that God abhors dishonesty in financial dealings. Manipulation, fraud, and stealing, even if subtle, invite judgment. Proverbs 13:11 says, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Remember, God sees how we earn our money, not just how much we earn. Number five, pride in riches leads to a fall. The Bible says that pride in wealth causes us to forget God and rely on ourselves. But earthly riches are temporarily, only God's promises are eternal. Proverbs 11 and 28 says, those who trust in their riches will fall, but the righteous will thrive like a green leaf. So our prayer focus is, Lord, help us to maintain and remain humble no matter how much you bless us. Number six is ignoring the poor offends God. The Bible says that biblical prosperity always includes a heart for the poor. Neglecting those in need while living in abundance is offensive to God. Whoever shuts their ears to the cries of the poor will also cry out and not be answered, according to Proverbs 21 and 13. So here's a biblical action. Prioritize giving, serving, and advocating for those who are less fortunate. Number seven, hoarding reflects a lack of faith. The Bible says that hoarding wealth out of fear reflects distrust in God's provisions. Instead, he calls us to steward well and to bless others. Luke 12:20 through 21 says, Jesus rebukes the man who stored up his riches for himself, but was not rich towards God. So here's a reflection. Are you building barns or are you building the kingdom? Number eight is compromising for financial gain. The Bible says that it is easy to compromise our values for money, accepting shady deals, unethical jobs, or ignoring God's standards. But short-term gain brings long-term loss. Matthew 16:26 says, "What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul?" So your call to action is, don't sacrifice your eternal purpose for temporary profit. Number 9, forgetting the source. The Bible says we must remember that all wealth and provision come from God, not our effort alone. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth." The truth is, God is the source and everything else is a resource. Number 10 is trusting money more than we trust God. The Bible says that Jesus taught that we cannot serve both God and money. One will rule over the other. Matthew 6:24 says, "You cannot serve both God and money or mammon." So here's our faith declaration. My trust is in God and not in my bank account, my job, or my investments, and definitely not in the government. So here's our closing encouragement. Prosper with purpose. Avoid the pitfalls does not mean that you are rejecting prosperity. It means that pursuing prosperity God's way with a pure heart, wise stewardship, and with a kingdom mindset, you will honor God with your finances. And then in return, he blesses you to be a blessing to others. 2 Corinthians 9:8 says, "And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things you will abound in every good work." Thank you for joining us today on Purpose Driven Life Skills. My name is Tamar. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Be blessed.